Welcome to the Blinker Fluid Podcast with your host, Damien LaRocca, and me, Sasha Brito, also known as the other guy. Today, we're going to be looking at a detail video and then discussing what it's like to be trying to start a business in a shop during the pandemic.
Yes.
And the struggles and some stories that we've learned from over the past few months.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one. And we wanted to announce for the winter months and the holidays, we're doing a little bit of a special, aren't we?
Yes, we are. So what we're doing is we're doing 20% off all details. This is designed to be for a gift, but it could also be for you if you want to gift yourself. So here's the deal. I'm married. I have a couple employees, and when I try to find gifts, I feel like I always end up finding the boring stuff, the stuff that everybody buys everybody. You just go on Amazon or look online, like good gifts for this person. You can't find anything. So if you're looking for something creative, something fun and different, you maybe your significant other has a vehicle that you want to just bring back to life. Maybe they drive it every day and you just want to kind of give them more of an enjoyable experience driving that vehicle. This could be a good option. Maybe you want to buy your significant other a new car, but you don't have the financial situation to be able to do that, and you want to just rejuvenate the car. This could be an option for you. So
Absolutely.
20% off every detail, including our paint correction and ceramic coating packages, which can be very pricey. So 20% off of that is a pretty solid promotion, I'd say.
I think it's great.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a cool gift this year, shoot me an email at info@napaautospa.com or shoot me a call at 707-501-7621, and we'll get you guys hooked up.
Absolutely. Perfect.
Cool.
Well, let's jump right into this video. This video is called How Not to Detail Your Car. And
I'm excited for this.
all right, 1 second. All right. Fantastic. Okay, let's jump right into it.
I instantly don't trust this guy.
It's a purchase that they're making, maybe a handful of times in their life, house, cars. These are big decisions, big purchases, and it's exciting. If I get a car back here, I want to make sure that it's leaving my stall looking brand new. When we started detail,
Your boy Chad.
I trust Chad.
Chad.
So far trust Chad. He seems like a good guy. Seems like a good old boy.
take it over to the wash bed, spray it down with degreaser, and acid on the
Where's the nozzle?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
I mean,
rims if they need it, and then pressure wash all of the doors.
So this is one we got to address because
okay, yeah, that's a little.
oh no, so this video is titled "How Not to Detail Your Car," and I feel like when you see that part seems cringy, but that part can be done right if you're pressure washing door jambs.
That's the part. So, we do that to every vehicle that comes in the shop.
Whenever we're doing an exterior detail.
Whenever doing exterior detail, but the difference is we are very, very careful.
Yeah, that's right.
And intentional with not getting water inside the vehicle as much as humanly possible. Yes, your car is meant to have water and rain and all that stuff. It's not meant to have a tsunami in the passenger seat.
The funny part is that is literally the area he's pressure washing right there is the only place that I don't pressure wash because it's absolutely impossible to not spray
the
crap
water
ton of
just
water in the
sprays
car.
everywhere.
Literally anywhere else on the door jambs, we just close one door and open the other, and it's like you don't get water in the inside of the car.
Yeah, and also the second thing about this thing,
we got a customer. We'll take a quick break.
we're back. We had a little fun situation.
Yeah.
Great. So also,
what does that mean?
Well,
that could be interpreted in many ways.
I peed my pants. The issue I have with this particular part of this is that both doors are open.
Yeah.
So when you do that,
It's not
and
that
I
hard
hope
to
he
close the
doesn't do
door.
it, if he sprays that little beep, that pillar in between the two doors,
Yeah.
all of the water is just going to go straight into the passenger seat.
Yeah.
And that's why we do one door at a time,
Yep.
Also, he's very close to the paint.
Yeah.
With the pressure washer.
And all these guys use gas pressure washers.
And that's
so.
the reason that's
You have a
concerning is because of you can chip paint.
Yeah.
Like if you're that close.
If you have a small chip in the paint and you're that close to the pressure washer, I've had it happen.
Rip it out.
Unfortunately, the whole a piece of paint will fly off. That's why we don't use gas pressure washers anymore. It's just not necessary.
Yeah.
It's just unneeded.
Pull it into the base and start with
Okay.
All right.
I
Walkman, scrub the whole inside,
We don't need to talk about that one. That one's obvious.
shampoo, the carpet.
okay. All right. We need to address this. So first off, the washment inside the vehicle. I don't do it personally. I don't think you necessarily need to do all that. It seems like quite over. Like it seems quite excessive.
So much moisture.
That's a lot of moisture to introduce to a car.
And we use cleaners when we do interiors, but I mean we're not freaking.
Like that's a lot to get. I mean, granted, it is on plastics and hard surfaces that won't soak it up as much, but still, that'll leave a lot of residue. Yeah. Electronics. If you get that on your seats, like you might just like super saturate the seats, and especially because like speaking of saturating, my guy's just dousing.
Yeah, dousing the chair. So there's two things wrong with this. Number one, he's using so much water, and I mean maybe he's gonna come back and pick all that water up.
Hopefully,
but
yeah.
The thing is, if you fill your vehicle with that much water, you're gonna have so much like mold and mildew. It's gonna be smelly and horrible. Yeah. So that's great. But the second thing is that he's literally going so fast with the thing. There's no way he's not extracting anything. Look at that. Like how? What are you picking up? Do you see him do the side?
Yeah.
All he's doing is spraying water. Crazy, man. All right. Okay. So I think this is a quick thing.
This is a quick little bit.
So we have done a lot of dealership detailing in the past. And there's nothing against them. And if you're a detailer out there watching this that does dealerships, nothing against you. But I think this needs to be said. Mm-hmm. We used to cut corners when we would do dealership detailing because they only pay so much and you have to get it done within a certain time.
Yeah.
Dealerships just care about the bottom dollar. Of course, this is not every dealership. There's some great dealerships out there, some smaller mom and pop places that are going to stand behind their work and what they sell and
Absolutely.
Everything.
Yeah.
But most of them are just, what's the cheapest price you can give me? I just want to get it done and get it out and sell it. They're all about numbers. So if you're taking your car to a dealership to get detailed, at the very least, please just go back there and watch them do it. But I mean, it's worth it to spend a little bit of extra money and to know
time,
Yeah.
And, if you're
just do it yourself. If at that point,
yeah, you really should, because we did do I personally, we did mobile stuff. I was there maybe 8 hours a day doing about 3 cars.
Yeah.
Which is a difficult timeline.
You just can't.
For the level of detail that we want to be doing and the level of detail that we now uphold as like the standard.
Right.
It's very difficult to do that in such a tight time constraint, especially without cutting all those corners.
Right. And we did more than they wanted.
And we did way more than they wanted. But still, it's like the level of there's a price level where it's like, okay, it's more than we wanted, but it's still we can ask for more, and we can't do more without it being like detrimental for our time and our other things that we could be doing and scheduling. So
right.
Let's get back into this guy.
Shiny and brand new. Wipe it all down with the clay bar.
Okay, so
there's
no water anywhere on this hood.
One doesn't just wipe down a car with a clay bar.
No. So the moisture that's all the stuff that's coming from the clay bar, there's no moisture on this car. Right, like that's dry. Like that's a dry hood. So what happens when you clay a dry surface, Damien?
You're gonna mar the surface,
You're
which is just
it
really, really fine scratches. So it's gonna make your paint look hazy and just ugly.
Yeah. So you might pull some contaminants out, but you're putting a bunch of scratches into it.
This poor vehicle is a black vehicle too. So this is my gripe with a lot of these like videos and a lot of detailers out there. If you can make any vehicle look good under certain lighting. So this may look good in this lighting, but you pull this thing out in the sun, my lord, it's going to look horrible.
Down with the clay bar, make it nice and smooth.
Nice and smooth.
Roughness on the paint, and then we'll go on to wiping down the lacquer thinner, getting all that.
So he said wiping down with lacquer thinner.
Yeah. So you can use lacquer thinner to remove like, tar and stuff like that.
Gunk.
But to wipe a whole vehicle down with lacquer thinner is so unnecessary. So absolutely unnecessary. There's much safer ways to decontaminate your paint by using safe solvents. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know why you would need to do that, unless the whole thing was filled with overspray. Okay. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here.
Okay.
I hope. I don't think. I'm not gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here.
Okay.
I don't think he's doing this, but my hope is that he is following this up with another step, because The thing about polishing is you can hit it really hard with like a rotary and a rough pad and not have and if you're finishing out the paint right, so you come in behind with multiple steps, you can make paint still look great. But he's literally holding it at like a 45-degree angle. I mean, look at this right here. Like right there before I pause it. He's basically flat against the panel. I mean, the like holograms and buffer swells on that are going to be absolutely insane.
That's insane. So so holograms. When people say like, what are those weird swirls in your car that look like almost like different like waves?
Yeah,
that's what happens when the technique is like this.
This is what happens when Chad does your car.
That's what happens when Chad does your car. He's
car
doing
got chatted.
all the cars are being chatted.
Yeah.
And also I think is that the vehicle's still wet, which is not a great thing.
Yeah. And dude, he's moving so fast.
Yeah, the car is still very wet. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, so he was applying wax with that.
Oh, okay. If he's applying wax.
No, that's worse. That means that
if he's only applying wax with the rotary. Oh, you're not.
Yeah,
right.
because that means that's his only step.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah. And then there's this guy, B.
What does B have to say?
If I'm coming to buy a car, it's going to be new to me. I want it to look 100% clean. And I want it to be nice, so I take a lot of pride in my work.
I don't know if I'd call that 100%.
Me neither.
B. Come on, B.
I hope he's not using the same towel for all that.
Oh, he is, I'm sure. Alrighty. Well, this is a podcast during real business. We don't have the luxury of running a podcast in a designated studio. So anytime customers come in or employees need direction or whatever it is, we got to cut the podcast. So just did a quick break, but we're back. So yeah, let's talk real quickly about the difference between a car wash company,
okay,
and a detail company.
Okay,
we'll start with that. Because then I think I see it in three categories. There's a car wash person, a detail company, and then there is the paint correction, or there's the specialist. So there could be paint protection film, ceramic coating, paint correction, things like that.
Right.
But yeah, I honor somebody who is able to be honest about what they do and not try to play the part like they're a specialist or like, whatever it is. If they're good at car washing, they honor it. They hit that hard, So what do you see as the difference between
right? Well, I think we can talk about specific like people who do car washes. I think saying specifically car wash companies is too general because not all car wash companies are the same. Not all detail companies are the same. Not all, they're not all the same thing.
True.
So I think that we would say the general thing from what we have seen as far as how people have washed their cars, and we see the effects of people washing their cars every day. That's what we do essentially, is we remove that. So I think that car washing
We're car wash fixers.
We're car wash fixers, yeah. Washing your car is the easiest thing you can do. It's also the most damaging thing you can do to your vehicle, besides like drastically doing something. Yeah, because if you wash your vehicle incorrectly, if you use like an abrasive thing to wash it, if you
bath towel,
bath
it's
towel,
the most common one. Beach towel, my gosh,
beach towel. Those really big toothbrushes.
The big toothbrushes.
Yeah,
some of you out there wash your car and dry it with a beach towel
or a dollar store broom.
Yeah,
dude, I saw a guy. Remember I told you the guy with the BMW 5 Series who was literally like scrubbing it with like a dollar store like freaking what's it called? I'm so annoyed. Broom. That's
What's it called? Broom.
The broom, dude. It was terrible. But yeah, washing is where you do the most consistent damage to your vehicle. Your vehicle's paint.
That's a good point. Yeah, because you're doing it so often. So you might do something that maybe like you get a little ding here or take like parking lot or whatever it is, and that sure you're gonna get damage or rock chips, but the most consistent damage, like where you're gonna get most of the damage on your paint, is gonna be washing.
Exactly. It's like it's like erosion. It's just little bits at a time, over and over and over again.
Made with water.
Exactly. It adds up.
Yep.
So I think that's what a wash can be. Anyone can do a wash, right?
Yep.
But the difference between a wash and a detail is when we wash a car, we're doing it without scratching it, doing our best not to scratch it, using enough lubrication, using the right stuff, pre rinsing off heavy dirt, like taking the time to make sure that we're not adding any additional scratches as much as we humanly can. Now, we do clay bar the car, which is where most of the, if any, like marring of the paint can happen.
Yeah.
Because clay bar, even though it's clay, it's still an abrasive.
Right.
And stuff does get trapped in your clay when you're moving it around. And if you don't have enough
no matter
lubrication,
how careful you are, it's like
if you don't have
impossible.
lubrication, it's gonna, scrape up the car.
As we just saw.
As we just saw earlier in that video.
Yeah.
But so I think that's the difference mainly is the attention to not do any damage and to
The care,
to put the care into washing the car safely, as well as going into that deeper cleaning as far as like underneath the seats, door jams, like all the hidden compartments that no one's gonna see.
Right.
Cleaning those is what makes it a detail.
So say there's a car wash person out there. I'm trying to make this practical for you guys. You guys are car enthusiasts, guys, girls, car enthusiasts that want to either take care of your car or just care about it, and you want to get better at washing it at home, or you want to take it to somebody and know who to take it to. Those are like probably the two most common scenarios. How do you distinguish between, because I think there can be somebody that washes cars well.
Yeah.
So say there's somebody that washes cars well like us, or somebody that is about to watch this podcast and hopefully we can give them some quick tips, or somebody that is a detailer. Because the way that I distinguish from even a person that does great car washing and a person that does great detailing is going to be that last like 5% of focus of energy. So because it's like you can do a great job at a car wash, get the wheels, and maybe even do some car wash people do like say an interior and exterior car wash where it's like light vacuum interior, whatever it is. What I think distinguishes that person from a detail company, say like what we just watched versus what some proper, like a legitimate car wash shop or a car detail shop would do, is going to be that last 5% to like 2% of attention that you're spending on the little things, the details. Like, it's what I think that's what makes the difference. It's like, if I take my car to a car wash, I expect them to do a decent job at washing it and not screwing it up. If I take them to a detail shop, I want them to get all the little details and the nooks and crannies, Yeah.
And this is not a knock to like car washing, to people who do car washes, because we're not talking about like, we're not trying to convince you to never wash your car ever and always bring it to us. You can wash your car separately. We're mainly talking about what we have seen in like the general area of where we are, as far as like companies who have been in car washing or people who come in who have been washing their cars for years. It's just the people who are damaging the paint. Not every car wash place is damaging paint. Not every person's doing it wrong.
Right.
But it is something to look out for.
Yep.
That is the first stage. Especially with like drive-through car washes. We touched about that last episode a little bit with like everything that gets stuck in the bristles and all that, and like the unequal pressure that is used throughout all that stuff. So
and harsh chemicals.
If anything there is we will talk about is drive-through car washes, like the mechanical drive-through car washes.
Right. Yep. I totally agree, man. Yeah, I think the big difference between them is the attention to detail. I think, and then there's a difference between, and this is kind of just a rant. I don't know if this is as much about them doing what they do well, but it's more about, and when I say them, I'm even talking to you guys at home. It's not like I'm not trying to like rip on you guys, but it's more like knowing your strength, knowing what you're good at, and knowing when to say like, I don't know how to do this, because there's a lot of, practically what I see is a lot of car wash companies that have a business and pretend like they know how to polish paint or how to be a specialist, or they pretend like, and then what you get is we have to fix it,
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Or it could be somebody at home. It could be somebody that like, you can do a great job at washing a car and then get too bold and then burn through a panel on your paint because you want to try to learn how to polish. And again, you can do all of this. I mean, I started from somewhere. Obviously, I wasn't born knowing how to polish cars. So it's more just like being realistic with what you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And being honest about that, because I see so many companies that are like either a car wash company that tries to, the amount of car wash companies that I've seen have ceramic coating in their bio on Instagram. Anyways, so anyways, that's kind of my 2 cents. But then there's this specialist. So I feel like there's also a distinction between a detail company, detail shop. There's a great detail shop in town here that I think does a great job of what they do, but I wouldn't necessarily call them a specialist. And that's not a bad thing. And they don't try to portray themselves as specialists, but if you're looking for, the average detail or, interior and exterior detail, I've heard that they do a great job at that. But when it comes to a specialist, what do you think is the difference between a detail shop and a specialist shop? I don't know if that was a clear question or not.
Yeah, I understand. And yeah, like I said, we're basing all this off of what we see here at the shop.
Right.
I think the difference between specializing in certain aspects, like I would say we are a detail shop, but we do specialize in ceramic coatings and paint correction. Like
right.
that is like our
It's
our bread and butter here. And I think the difference with that is just the time put in versus the results. So if you can spend days polishing a car, but if it doesn't come out good, clearly there was something missed along the way. There's something you're not picking up. There's something you're not learning through the paint about like what it needs to come out the proper way.
Right.
I think that's part of being a specialist, because anybody can learn how to polish.
Yep.
And like learn the technique of it. But what makes somebody a specialist, what makes somebody that like cut above, is when they start to understand how to problem solve what they're doing.
Right.
Because we can't treat paint the same way. Every car's different. Every paint's different.
Yeah.
Everything's very, very different. If we came at the same car the same way every single time, I feel like 95% of the cars would look terrible.
Yep.
Because they're just different. They need different attention. And I think a specialist is able to determine and figure out, what does this paint need specifically, or what does this wash need, what does this detail need, like specifically, be able to problem solve like on the spot.
Right. Yeah. Because we were looking at doing like paint protection film, which is a very it's a very specialized portion of detailing. Absolutely. That takes time and effort to do great at. And we talked to a guy that came by and he was talking about doing some paint protection film for us here. And he was saying how you can go get a training to be accredited and be like certified to install paint protection film. But he said the training doesn't teach you how to problem solve. That just comes with the time and the experience and like, no pun intended, under the knife, because you're literally using a knife to cut the PPF, so it's just time. I think that's what a specialist is. Just somebody
absolutely.
That's put in the hours to learn, okay, when this happens, this is what I do. When this happens, this is what I do,
Mm-hmm.
And it's honestly, when you guys decide to get a coating or a paint correction done here, knowing that we're specialists, it doesn't mean that you can't do it on your own. It just means that you're paying for our time. You're paying for the fact that the time that we've taken to problem solve and learn, so that you guys don't have to make that mistake on your vehicle. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. Just means that you have to be okay with the fact that you might take 4 times the amount of time that we do, because we just know how to do it. We know what pads to use, what polishes to use, what temperature to apply the coating at, what kind of lighting to use. It's just everything that goes into it. So, I feel like that's a pretty accurate representation. So,
yeah. And there's no way to discourage anybody from learning stuff and doing it on their own. If they want to take that route, dude, go for it. Like it's a big community, and we need more people doing it.
Yep. A lot of cars out there.
Go for it.
A lot of cars. Just takes time.
Just watch our videos so you can see how to do it right.
Yeah. And if you guys ever have questions, like say you don't have the budget to come in for a detail, but say like I want to learn how to do it on my own, I want to try to avoid making mistakes, shoot me a call, shoot me an email. We'll help you out.
Yeah. But I think we should do like a Gordon. You ever watch a Gordon Ramsay cooking video where he does like it's like the music's like intense, and it's like multiple shots, and he's like going around and like, so you get the garlic, I want to do that with like polishing.
You watch different videos than I do.
I want to do that with like the polishing. It's just like different cuts, like, and then we grab this,
and
we
pour
like
garlic on the hood.
Sweeping shot, like.
Yeah, that sounds intense.
That'd be cool.
I'm all for it. What are we talking about? What's the main meat of this?
We are talking about what it is like to we're talking about what it's like to start a business in a pandemic, and what it's been like for you and for the employees here.
It's been interesting.
And then talk about some things we've learned along the way, some frustrations that we've had that we've learned valuable lessons from.
Yes.
And so, hey, Damien. as the owner of Napa Auto Spa.
What?
What was it like to move into a big space in the beginning of a global pandemic?
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, see, I was working out of my garage. I'd remodeled my garage, and I was doing coatings. I started to get more demand for coatings and paint correction as I transitioned from being a detailer to a specialist. I was starting to get a lot more interest, so I remodeled my garage, and I was working over the last winter in my garage. Got a lift, and just started getting more intentional about coatings. And in February, I decided to go out to Atlanta. I was trying to choose the right company to get accredited with for a professional grade coating, because anybody can install a ceramic coating, but there's a big difference between a consumer grade coating and a professional grade coating, mainly in the durability. So I wanted to be able to provide that the best coating possible for my customers. I'd have customers, direct message me or call me and say, hey, what's the best coating you can do? Sorry, I just had to sneeze.
You're good.
I had customers reach out to me and ask for like the best coating possible, and I was like, oh, I have this consumer grade coating. So I just in pursuit of the best for my customers, decided to get accredited with G-Technic, and they stand behind their product. Anyways, that's a whole other topic. But I went out to Atlanta, got accredited, and came back, and literally a month later. This was in February. A month later, we go on lockdown. So this was, prime time for detailing. March, stuff starts to pick up, and it was, that was the time. It was like a sudden halt. I had four or five coatings on the schedule, ready to go, and then everybody just, cancel. I don't want to, I don't want to book anything. So it was kind of about a month of just dead. In March, of just nobody wanting to book anything because they were afraid to go outside, and rightfully so. We didn't know anything about it, and then I started looking at. Before that, I was already looking at places to rent, because I knew that once the pandemic lightened up a bit, I was going to need a space. Not only does G-Technic require that you be in a fixed location, you can't be working out of your garage, because let's face it, that's not a legitimate business. That's it's a side hustle, or there's nothing legitimate about having somebody drop off a vehicle to your house, in my opinion. I just did it because I had to, because I couldn't find any real estate to rent. So I was just desperately looking for a place to rent, knowing that when it lightened up, it was going to be game on, because there's really nobody in the area that could fill those shoes. So I finally found this place and jumped right on it, and instantly, within 3 months, went from just me, and I was doing, really one coating a month,
Wow.
maybe one and a half coatings a month, something like that, to doing, we do at least one a week now, if not two a week. And, amongst the other details we do, and 4 employees and a shop and all that. So it just blew up in a couple months, I just think because I've worked really hard at doing what I do, and I think people recognize that and see, the attention that I put into what I have put into. Okay, he's gonna care about what he's doing now. But yeah, it's been nuts, man, because people don't want to spend money when they are unsure about what's going to happen.
Right,
Yeah. But at the end of the day, we are a detail shop for enthusiasts, for car enthusiasts. So I think people that are enthusiastic about what they're enthusiastic about are that way no matter what. People that really care, and it's valuable to them to have their car look as good as they can for as long as they can. Mm-hmm. They know where to go.
For sure.
I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So it's been a wild ride, man, wild journey. But I think if we can make it through this winter, through this second wave of the pandemic, and come out on the other side of in spring, which it's looking like we'll be able to do, I think it should be good. Now I'm the kind of guy that's like always on to the next best thing. So I'm like, the shop isn't big enough and we need a clean room and, all that. And I'm like, just got to focus on what we're focusing on,
Absolutely.
But
what are some things you've learned that maybe you didn't know before?
In the pandemic or just in general? Yeah, in the pandemic, I've learned that I need to stay in my lane. It's very tempting, very, very tempting to go back to the dealership contracts that we had before, where we go and do, I got a call, from a dealership that we had a relationship with, and they even said, we're not going to give you all the dirty cars, we'll give you the really clean ones. And, I can't call it easy money, but it's, it's there, and it's there no matter what. It's very tempting, but to remember that we are specialists now. We are the top tier. We're, the best detail shop in the area. I would say even outside of, Napa when it comes to, precision and what we do. So as tempting as it is, I remember I've learned I just have to stay in my lane, because we could easily be a car wash company. We could easily have, still have my van, still could do mobile detailing. But I've learned we need to stay in our lane because what we do is important, and I want my customers to be able to trust and rely on what we do. And every job that we take that is not a coding job is a missed opportunity cost of being able to become more specialized and better at what we do. I want to get better every day at problem solving and learning exactly what it takes to be the best at what we do, which is ceramic coating and paint protection. So, what else, man? I've learned, just in general, just how the importance of customer service, the importance of standing behind your work and taking care of your customers. There's some stingers, some ones that have hurt a little bit recently, even just last week that I can think of that have, I had a customer that we, we're not perfect, and we missed some stuff on the interior, the detail. So I call him up and I just wanted to make sure everything was good, like I like to do. And he had some things that he wanted us, or that he thought we didn't do well on. We missed a couple spots, missed a little spot on the sunroof window, and some little things, or I guess you'd call that anyways. And when we said we wanted to touch it up, I said, no problem, I'll come right out and touch it up for you. He said, no, it's okay, just send me the bill. And I'm like, it's one thing if you want me to, if you're telling me we're doing something wrong. It's another thing. It just stings as a business owner. I'm like, if I can't make it right, I can't have him pay. I'm not gonna have him pay for a job that's, even if there's 1% that I know that we did wrong and I can't fix it.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, man, that just bugs me. So, I've learned just the importance of customer service, standing behind your work. Nobody's going to be perfect. No business will be perfect. But standing behind your work is one that I'm very passionate about. And I've learned that. And then the other one that comes to mind is when you go from somebody that is a small, very, very small business, maybe not even a business, maybe more of a side hustle, somebody that is working out of their garage or mobile, to being somebody that is, if somebody doesn't show up, if somebody doesn't show for an appointment, it's like detrimental, especially like at the end of the month, or, we're not a very high margin business to where we have tons of money in the bank and it's just, cash flow city. I mean, we're still growing, we have 3 employees to pay payroll on and, all that. So when we have last minute cancellations like we did also this week,
a few days ago,
I had a guy that's supposed to show up, came for an estimate, gave him a detailed estimate, and then he just didn't show. No call, no show, nothing. And I call him up, hey, checking in, and he's, oh, I'm not coming. So, that's a frustrating one because I don't want to have to charge a cancellation fee, but it's because I trust my customers,
Right,
but at the same time, I'm learning that as we get a little bit bigger, as we grow a little bit, there's some of these like safeguards that we have to put into place, unfortunately, just to be able to do what we do, because
and as one of the employees here at Napa Auto Spa, I can understand from the perspective of people who aren't here every day. We look like a much bigger business than we are.
Yeah.
we put a lot of care into the content we put out. We put a lot of care into all the videos, the podcast. We do put a lot of effort into it, and we get better every week. But it does look like a much bigger operation than it is. We are still like a small business. It's run by a bunch of friends. Honestly, like it started with me and Damien and his wife Rachel, and then me and Damien, and then Damien, and then Damien, and then Damien, and then me and Damien, and then.
No, the only reason for the transition between me and Rachel and me and you was because I had a daughter.
You had a daughter.
She worked as she was pregnant until probably like 4 months. 4 months until probably about that. And then I was like, I need some help. Yeah.
And I remember
Satch
jumping in the week your daughter was born.
Yep. Well, that was crazy because even after I was doing all the work my own, Eden's my daughter, ended up coming a month early, and I had no plan. I had no plan as to how I was going to take care of my regular clients. We're still doing dealership stuff. And so I'm literally like, I called him while I was in the hospital. I was like, hey man, you want to, and he hadn't worked for me for
maybe like
a year and a half, 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. So it'd been a while, and I was like, hey,
I didn't realize how far back I was. That was crazy. I mean,
you jumped in,
needed it,
sent it,
full sent.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we're not that big of a business, and every job matters. Every job is important. And we're just riding that fine line of like making sure that the business is growing, and still, still trying to be logical and still trying to be rational. And okay, we're in a pandemic. Okay, we need to have cash reserves and all that. So, it's been a wild ride, man. It's been interesting, but you have a lot of lessons learned. I think we'll continue. I don't think I'll ever stop learning. As we make mistakes, and I just hope people have grace for us and understand that we're going to take care of them. Like I said, nobody's going to be perfect. I would hope that nobody expects anybody to be perfect. I don't even expect a big corporation to be perfect, but I do expect them to stand behind their word. I think that's for you guys out there. Any business that you use, I think that's the mark of a solid business is standing behind their work.
Absolutely.
Or their product. So
yeah, and even as a small business with 4 people here. I know it can seem kind of loose, kind of easy going around here, but just because we're all very close, very family-oriented business, and we want to make you feel like family. That doesn't mean that you can't talk to us like a business. Right. You can still, please feel free to bring up any questions, any concerns, anything we missed. You can email us at info@napaautospot.com, or you can find our phone number on Google, or we said it earlier during the promotion. Thank you for listening to the Blinker Fluid Podcast, episode 3. We'll name it Gordon Ramsay. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and we will talk to you guys next week. Don't forget to schedule your 20% off detail.
Yes. Merry Christmas, y'all.
Merry Christmas, guys.
All right.
See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.